All right, so it's 10:02, and what I'm going to do is record this meeting so that I can just post it because there's going to be a lot of useful information for all the other classes. And instead of having us talk about it 3 different times in a row, people can just watch whatever they need, including yourself if you need to watch anything again. So apparently, for the rest of the year, attendance is going to be mandatory, and each teacher kind of has the option of what attendance looks like. For me, attendance is going to be the completion of our weekly Google Forms questions. Sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's just a few, sometimes it's multiple choice, sometimes it's short answer. So that is going to be your attendance. There's going to be UT assignments as well, and anything besides the Google Forms and the UT assignments, anything beyond that, that is going to be kind of required, so to speak, part of the attendance, part of the grading. There's no grades, we'll get to that, but part of all that, I will make it very clear and obvious with like big, bold words and all caps saying this is a requirement kind of thing. Pardon me. I'm going to have a deadline for everything. It's just a suggested deadline. It's a suggested due date because the way things are going right now, obviously you might have a week or two where your family's all sick and you can't do anything. That's okay. But I do have to put deadlines into the computer for various electronic assignments. So the deadlines I have are just suggested. You should try to get them done if everything's okay and everything's you're working, in a timely manner. All my deadlines are going to be basically suggestions. If a due date comes and it locks you out like a UT assignment, just send me a message and I'll reopen it. There's not a problem at all. The Google Forms, you can submit answers as many times as you want. So if you submit answers earlier in the week and then at the end of the week you want to resubmit, that's fine. You don't have to tell me, you just do it. It's all in an Excel spreadsheet. It tells me when you turn things in so I can see which one is the earliest and which one is the latest. So resubmit as much as you need to. You can always resubmit and just answer one single question if you wanted to fix one of your answers. That's not necessarily required, but if you wanted to do that. Because as it comes to grades, there is no grade that's going to be assigned for your second semester. It's going to be pass-fail. So for that, basically, if everything you've done for me is on time and for the most part it is correct, I don't need 100%, of course, but if it's turned in and it's correct, you pass. Simple. You don't need to tell me, hey, I think I deserve to pass. You pass. If you are not able to turn things in on time or things are missing or whatever else, then that's where you'll have to tell me in a paragraph why it is you feel you should earn a passing score. If you didn't turn something in for 3 straight weeks and then all of a sudden it all gets turned in, hey, we were sick for 3 weeks and I finally got healthy and caught up, fine. If you're sick the entire time and you say, hey, everything I was doing in third quarter was good, whatever. So you'll only need to write me a paragraph to support credit or no credit if you're not keeping up with everything. And obviously if there is an obvious trend where everything you turn in is a week late after I give you the answers or whatever, I'll just pass on the note to the people that are giving me the thumbs up or thumbs down on grading. So you are still learning without fear of grading repercussions. If things are getting turned in and you're active, then you're good. The Zoom meetings are going to continue to be optional. I'm not taking attendance on the Zoom meeting. You can come to any, all, none, whatever it is you choose to come to. Obviously, I have one set up for your particular class period. So quite frankly, I don't see why you wouldn't attend. It takes 15 minutes out of your week for physics. I don't see why you wouldn't attend at least your class period. But again, it's entirely up to you. Because of spring break, I didn't want to start things too early. We're kind of getting a little bit of a later start to our week. So for that reason, this week only, I'm going to have a Thursday 10 a.m. meeting also just for people that wanted to ask questions, mostly for first hour folks like you who maybe I post something later today and your Zoom meeting has come and gone and your 4th and 5th hours, you're busy with other classes. I get that. So the Thursday's kind of for you if you need it. Every Zoom meeting is optional though. You don't need to check in. Your checking in is the Google Forms. So continue to learn without fear of grading. As long as you're here, you're doing everything, you're going to be just fine. You'll get your passing score. Anything beyond that is probably a question that I can try to answer, but it's probably a question that is maybe more suited to the principals or to the to Dr. Shaner. But that's everything. It looks like seniors, you have a you're done on the 15th of May. Everyone else is done on the 5th of June. And as my letter to you last week, as my letter stated to you, you're a Rochester Adams, student, graduate to be, so to speak. Do yourself the favor of making sure you're in the best possible situation for next year, wherever you're going. And so I say that seniors, on the 15th of May, you're done. But we're going to be we're going to keep going for 2 or 3, 4 weeks after that. I don't see why you wouldn't just kind of hang around. It's up to you. You're not going to get graded on that, but I don't see, it's not like on the 15th of May, all of a sudden, hey, all the movie theaters are opened up and I'm going to, we're still going to be on lockdown. I'm pretty sure. It's only a couple weeks after the current deadline. So seniors, I would suggest, keep with us and learn some more stuff about physics. It's going to help you in the future, because you're going to have to take a science class in college at some point, and maybe physics is something you found to be somewhat easy, and the more you know, the easier it's going to be for you. So that's just my 2 cents on seniors. But on the 15th, you can say, adios, and there's no problem with that. So I'm recording this and I will post it for those that joined late, but I talked about attendance being the Google Forms only, how you're going to be graded pass or fail, credit, no credit, I should say. And basically, if you're turning things on time and they're good, you pass. And if you're not doing that, you just have to tell me why you weren't doing that and why you still think you earn a passing score. And then the Zoom meetings are still optional. I still have them designed, designated for each particular class period. And that's everything. This week, so far, what I've done is I've posted kind of a review from last week, answers to the Google Forms questions. You have an online, a UT assignment. It's, like I said, the deadline is very loose in terms of, if you need me to keep opening it, I will. There's a ton of questions just for you to practice the concepts. So this week, we're going to do a couple more little concept things, little lab activity and that sort of thing. And then we're going to start getting into the math behind all of it. So we're getting back into equations and everything else. So that's where we stand with physics for the rest of the year. So do you have any questions? You can group chat them, or you can unmute yourself and ask away. And if it's a question about how the end of the year works in general, I'll answer as best I can. If it's a physics question, I think I can answer. And if there's no questions, that's just fine also. If you don't want to speak, you can use the chat feature. I've got the chat sitting there ready to be seen. The lab activity that you're going to attempt, if you have the materials. If you don't have the materials, I'll make a video because I brought home all my materials. What you're going to need is a 3-dimensional, medium-sized conductor. Conductor is metal. The best way to do this is with a pi tin. So let's move my camera back a little bit so there's a space here. So this right here would be your pi tin. So if you don't have something exactly like this, I've got some options. Now you'll notice that there is a styrofoam cup in the middle of that. That styrofoam cup is an insulator. That cup is the handle, because I am a conductor. This is a conductor. When we touch, we behave as one big conductor, which means if I try to move this piece of metal around, it's going to have electrical consequences. If instead I hold on to the cup like this, well, now I can move this thing around and do whatever I want without touching it, without affecting it. Now I need to make sure that I pick it up, I don't accidentally let my wrist come in contact with it. So that right there is what you need. That is the best material to use, is going to be a pi tin. What you might have instead of a pi tin, maybe you have some kind of a takeaway to-go container that's maybe a square instead. That'll work with the cup, tape it down. That'll work. I've attempted it with a Coke can. It's not as good, but it will work, and you still need a handle, so you can take this right along the side there. So now I can move my Coke can around with my handle. I'm sure a can of soup or any kind of an aluminum can that you have from any of your meals that you may have used this week, those will work as well. Not as well, but it works. And the last option, and I haven't actually tried it out yet, I'm sure it's going to work very well, is to take any kind of a, obviously if you have a pie tin, you can use that, but you can take any kind of a plastic bowl, a paper plate. I just took some pasta, I took the box, flattened it out so that it's a nice sturdy material, and I can now take a sheet of aluminum foil. I still need a handle, and I want to make sure that my conductor has 3 dimensions to it. I don't want it to be just a flat plate. I want it to have some lip on the edge, kind of like the pie tin itself. So what I can do is I can take this. I can either tape the cup to the cardboard first, or after. You can kind of play around with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cardboard. I'm going to wrap it up in foil as best I can in front here. So I'm going to wrap it up in foil, and now I can, sorry for the sound effect of all the foil, but I can essentially, it's easier on a flat surface, and I can punch it up so it's nice and clean as can be here. What I'm doing is I am making my own little version of a pie tin. My own little version of a pie tin, something like that. I still have a little bit of a lip on the edges. I can make it as tall as I want. And I will sample this out when I make a video of the lab, but I'm pretty sure this should work. Put my cup on there, and now there we go. There's my homemade pie tin. So any of those materials will work when I send out the lab later today. Any of those materials will work. And what you need in addition to that is some kind of a charged insulator. If you want, you can use the balloon. It's not as good as a piece of styrofoam, but I realize many of you might not have styrofoam. This is insulating styrofoam you'd put in the walls of your home. If you have white styrofoam, any kind of a plate of styrofoam will work. And if not, a balloon will work okay. I've tested it out, it'll work okay. You have to be able to charge these things up. Again, I have science materials brought home, so I have my little rabbit pelt. Styrofoam and fur is going to be the absolute best. You could use your hair, you can use certain types of wool sweaters. You just got to sample and try out whatever you have at your house. You got to find what works the best. And again, if you don't have enough of the materials, I'm going to put out a video to show you what happens, to discuss the lab. But you can use this right here. What I did, use this right here, and that will work. So I will send out that lab this afternoon, and so you can kind of take a look at that. And again, Thursday there is a Zoom meeting, just because we're getting a late start because of spring break and everything else. First hour folks are getting a little bit of a later start because of me, and that's okay. So Thursday is an option for you to come on and ask questions. All right, this whole thing has been recorded and will be posted. So if you got on late or wanted to rewatch any of it, it'll be on there, and I'll post that to the classroom stream as well. So with that, if there are any other questions, my clock says that it's 10:16. As I've told you in the past, I always make sure I'm on here between 10 and 10:15 the entire time. So if someone shows up late, 10 minutes late, I'll still be here to answer any questions. But our little time slot has been filled up. You have no questions right now. You can go to the stream. There is a Google, there's a YouTube video for you to watch, just to kind of get you back into the physics mood. There is a UT assignment that's been posted for a long time. Make sure you check that out. And then this afternoon, your lab will be posted. I need to make sure that the form that I have saved that you would have received in the class, I need to make sure it makes sense for you to do it all by yourself without us doing it as a group. So I'll modify that as needed, and I'll get that posted. And so we'll have a few different things this week to look at, and then we'll just kind of keep on moving on. And typically this week we'll get back into it where I will post everything you're going to need. I'll get it posted by Friday so you can look at it over the weekend. So you first hour folks can come in on Monday, already have seen it, and you can do that. So will the Google form be in regards to the lab? So all the Google forms that I'm going to send out are going to be related to, so if you saw last week, I had assignment 2.1 was a lab, and then there was a Google form that went with that. And then lesson 2.2 was just a video. There were no questions that went with that. And then lesson 2.3 was the labs online, the PHET John Travoltage labs. And there were questions with that. So each lesson, this week will be 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. Each lesson may or may not have a Google form attached with it. So every lesson might not have a form, but there will definitely be one form every week. That way I'm fulfilling my duty in making sure that I'm taking attendance. And if I see that someone hasn't been able to make it, I'll reach out, make sure everything's okay, and we'll figure out why that's happening and what we can do to fix it. So if you're struggling because of health and other things, you don't need to worry about this class. You don't need to worry about all this because we have special circumstances, and you say, I worked really hard except for those 2 weeks where I was sick. I can't see anyone holding that against you. Maybe those are famous last words, but I know I will not hold that against you. So if you're struggling with anything, physics is the last thing you need to worry about. But if everything's going well for you and your family, then there's no reason you can't make sure you're keeping up with all your schooling. That way you're setting yourself up for a better next year, whether it's a senior year, whether it's a college year. Make next year easier on yourself by just doing what you're supposed to do these last few weeks, months, whatever. Okay, so with that, I'll stand here for about a minute in case someone's trying to formulate a question or figure out how to write it in the group chat or whatever else. But if you log off, I'll see you the next time I see you.